What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today I want to talk about farmers, and I want to do a follow-up video. I posted a video just yesterday. I was talking about farmers and how they're struggling. I was also talking about the fact that some of these farmers voted for Trump, and they admit that they voted for Trump, and now they're upset with the current situation when it comes to tariffs. So I'm going to show you some more clips, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this. And I have a question for you guys to answer in the comments. Do you think farmers should get a bailout? And I'm going to show you what the president said. I'm also going to show you what the president said just 1 month ago when he was talking about tariff rebates that were going to go out to the American people. And so we're going to talk about all that in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, if you're watching this video and you like this type of content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Farmers across the country are starting to harvest soybeans as we speak, and right now 25% of our market is completely missing. That is a 5-alarm fire for our industry.
And I believe this gentleman was a Trump supporter. I don't know, but the reason that I bring this up is because he's a farmer. He's obviously struggling. He's letting us know that he's struggling. However, he didn't listen to President Trump when President Trump was running for office, when President Trump was saying, we're going to tariff other countries. And we're going to even the playing field is what he was saying. And you have to understand, too, farmers went through something similar the last Trump administration because there were some tariffs in place. And then the farmers, as a result of these tariffs, they were struggling. So this is not the first time. And so when we're listening to farmers today talk about how they could potentially be going bankrupt, and 1 in every 3 farmers in I can't remember what state it was, I think it was Arkansas, 1 in every 3 farmers is going to go bankrupt if they can't get some type of aid from the federal government. So this isn't new.
The result of the tariffs has been devastating for soybean farmers in particular. Currently, 25% of our soybeans grown in the United States, 1 out of every 4 rows of soybeans goes to China. Right now, China has purchased 0 soybeans.
That one's not ready. This is a business. It's a family farm, but it's a business. And we have to look at our input costs, what we can sell our product for, and see what that profit is. And we hope it's a profit. Going into 26, 27, there's a lot of unknowns there for my family. The American farmer, especially myself included, we don't want aid payments. We want to work. You know, we work the land, we harvest the land, the crop off the land, and the worst thing that we could ever want is a handout.
And, you know, I agree with what he's saying. Like, who would want just to have money, the government giving you money, because especially if you have a business, because you can't grow a business that way. The only way that you can grow a business is by selling your product. And if you are now in a situation, as they were stating, 25% of the soybeans are going to China, and now China's not buying soybeans from us anymore. They're going to Brazil. They're going to Argentina. Now that cut off your revenue stream. And so the federal government can step in and say, okay, we'll give you some subsidies, but you're not going to get wealthy that way. The only way that you're going to really be well off or do better is by selling your product to more countries, or selling more in the U.S. But we know that other countries is what's keeping some of these soybean farmers in business. And now that we're seeing some other countries decide not to buy soybeans from the U.S., that's why these farmers are struggling.
We want to deliver the message to President Trump and his leadership team that we need trade. He's mentioned many times that he loves farmers. Right now, we need to see swift action, or we're going to lose a lot of these farmers that the president loves.
And so this is going on all over the U.S. I believe that was in Kentucky. We're hearing about this in Arkansas, Ohio, Iowa, Michigan, all over, Nebraska. You have farmers that are saying, look, we're going bankrupt as a result of tariffs. And it's not just tariffs, but tariffs are, it's a big part of this. Another part is immigration. A lot of these farmers are struggling to hire employees now. And you have some immigrants that are afraid to go to work because they fear that they could be deported. And so that is also hurting. And then climate. Climate is hurting as well. And so there are a lot of different factors that play a role, but tariffs is a big part of it. And tariffs is something that was self-induced. This is something that didn't have to happen. And now that it's happened, you have countries like China saying, okay, that's fine. We'll go elsewhere. And you could be losing some of these countries forever. China might not ever come back to the U.S. If they're getting what they need in Brazil and they're getting what they need in Argentina, there's no reason to come back to the U.S. And so that's why these farmers are saying you guys need to work out some type of trade deal. Telling the White House, work out a trade deal so we can sell our products. But I think it's too late now. I think China might be looking at this and saying, okay, we won. We can get still get our soybeans, and the U.S. that slapped a tariff on us, now they're going to feel some of the pain. Now, the president did say, look, help is on the way. Let me show you this clip. Here we go.
Some of that tariff money that we made, we're going to give it to our farmers who are, for a little while, going to be hurt until it kicks in. The tariffs kick into their benefit.
And so there you heard the president saying that there's going to be help for these farmers, okay, until the tariffs kick in. I don't know exactly what that means, but he's saying that farmers are going to struggle a little bit until the tariffs kick in. But if you are a soybean farmer, you're still not going to get that business back from China until they work out some type of trade deal. And if a lot of your soybeans are going to China, you're still going to be struggling, even if you're receiving this aid from the government. And so I don't know what he's talking about there. What's the plan? And that's what I would want to know. And the reporter should have asked, that next question is, what's the plan then? How are you going to roll this out? Because this is very similar to something that we heard a month ago.
We have so much money coming in, we're thinking about a little rebate, but the big thing we want to do is pay down debt. We're thinking about a rebate because we have so much money coming in from tariff that's a little rebate for people of a certain income level might be very nice.
And so that was the president just 1 month ago talking about tariff rebates. So rebates going out to the American people because the American people are struggling. When they go to the grocery store, they're paying more. When they're buying products anywhere, they're pretty much paying more because of inflation. However, the president recently said that inflation's under control and prices are down at the grocery store and all of this.
It almost feels like an unforced error. You know, if you think inflation I've already taken care of, prices are way down for everything, groceries, everything.
When we know that's not the truth, but that's what he's saying. So just 1 month ago, he was talking about a tariff rebate for the American people. Whatever happened to that? We know that Senator Hawley introduced a bill. Whatever happened to that? Nothing. It hasn't gone anywhere. You don't even hear the president talking about tariff rebates anymore. Now we're looking at help for the farmers. So they're going to take the tariff money and help farmers. And understand, this tariff money is coming from us. It's coming from the American people. It's coming from a business that needs to buy products from another country. When they buy those products from another country, they have to pay a tariff on those products. That goes to the federal government. Now, that company has a choice. They can say, okay, we're going to eat that tariff that we just, the extra money that we had to spend on a tariff, or we can pass it on to the consumer. And what we are seeing now is we're seeing companies pass this on to the consumer. And so we are actually paying the tariff. And that money is going to the federal government. And now they're trying to decide, what do we do with that money? Do we give it back as a rebate to the American people, which we don't hear anything about that anymore? Or do we give it to farmers? That's the new thing. We'll have to see if that happens. We'll wait a couple months and see if money is going out to these farmers, and then what farmers are going to receive the money. And there's going to be a lot that has to be at play there. How much money will be going to these farmers? Or do we pay down the debt? Because you're getting billions and billions of dollars in. Do you pay down the debt with that money? And even to make this more complicated, an appellate court came out and said, look, the way that President Trump is putting out these tariffs, he can't do it. He can't say that it's a state of emergency in all these different countries, and that's why we're issuing these different tariffs. It has to go through Congress. Congress has to vote on things like this. And so Congress has been staying quiet. The House has been staying quiet about this. They haven't said anything. We know that Republicans are controlling the House, Republicans are controlling the Senate. So they are letting the president go ahead and issue these different tariffs and all of this and say that this is a state of emergency. But the appellate court said, look, this is not a state of emergency. And so now what needs to happen is it's going to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is going to have to rule on this. So does the president really have the power to just impose these tariffs and call everything a state of emergency? But I just wanted to bring this to your attention. So you have farmers in a lot of these red states, let's be honest, Kentucky, Arkansas, Iowa, Nebraska, a lot of these states are red states. And they voted for Trump. A lot of them voted for Trump. A lot of these same farmers voted for Trump. And now they're asking the White House, they're asking President Trump or begging President Trump, look, you need to do something because we're going bankrupt. So I want to know what you guys think about this. Do you think that these farmers should get a bailout? Because that's another issue to talk about as well. Because when they start talking about tariff rebates, when they start talking about stimulus checks to the American people, you hear a lot of people saying, look, they shouldn't get anything. You shouldn't get any money. So are these farmers in the same situation? Because you have a lot of people right now that are struggling to pay their bills. Should they get a rebate? Or should these farmers that are saying that they're struggling and they could be going bankrupt, should they get a rebate? So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.